a good idea at the time.
Released 1975, directed by John Trent.
Deadly Companion.
Released 1980, directed by George Bloomfield.
The Canadian Conspiracy.
Released 1985, directed by Robert Boyd.
Clown Murders.
Released 1976, directed by Martin Burke.
The Courage of Kavik, the Wolf Dog.
Released 1980, directed by Peter Carter.
Tunnel Vision.
Released 1976, directed by Neil Israel, Bradley R. Smirnoff.
Class of 44.
Released 1973, directed by Paul Bogart.
Find the Lady.
Released 1976, directed by John Trent.
Speed Zone.
Released 1989, directed by Jim Drake.
The Silent Partner.
Released 1979, directed by Darwin Duke.
Hostage for a Day.
Directed by John Candy.
The Last Polka.
Released 1985, directed by John Blanchard.
Lost and Found.
Released 1979, directed by Melvin Frank.
Boris and Natasha, the movie.
Released 1992, directed by Charles Martin Smith.
Masters of Menace. Yes.
Released 1990, directed by Daniel Raskow.
Once Upon a Crime.
Released 1992, directed by Eugene Levy.
Going Berserk.
Released 1983, directed by David Steinberg.
Career Opportunities.
Released 1991, directed by Brian Gordon Moore. Career Opportunities 477 of 541. The Greatest Guilty Pleasure Movies 166 of 252. The Funniest 90s Movies 371 of 925. The All-Time Greatest Comedy Films.
Hot to Trot.
Released 1988, directed by Michael Dinner.
Sesame Street presents Follow That Bird.
Released 1985, directed by Ken Kwappies-Moore. 262 of 314. The Funniest 80s Movies 319 of 372. Old movies every young person needs to watch in their lifetime. 221 of 306. The Best Movies for Kids.
She's Having a Baby.
Released 1988, directed by John Hughes Moore. She's Having a Baby. 907 of 1137. The Absolute Funniest Movies of All Time. 443 of 522. The Greatest Movies of the 1980s, ranked 184 of 199. The Biggest Tearjerker Movies of All Time.
Heavy metal.
Released 1981, directed by Gerald Potterton. More heavy metal. 396 of 575, the best animated films ever. 55 of 97, the best movies to watch on mushrooms. 305 of 356, the best musical movies of all time.
Wagons East.
Released 1994, directed by Peter Markle.
1941.
Released 1979, directed by Steven Spielberg. More 1941, 206 of 374, the 50-plus best war movies ever made. Ranked 453 of 1137, the absolute funniest movies of all time. 275 of 456, the most quotable movies of all time.
The Rescuers Down Under.
Released 1990, directed by Mike Gabriel, Hendel Butoy. More The Rescuers Down Under. 45 of 575, the best animated films ever. 65 of 190, the greatest animal movies ever made. 38 of 58, the best Disney animated movies.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Released 1986, directed by Frank Oz.
Rookie of the Year.
Released 1993, directed by Daniel Stern. More Rookie of the Year. 79 of 172, the best sports movies ever made. 12 of 12, classic 90s kids movies you forgot are actually super messed up. 90 of 145, the most inspirational sports movies.
Volunteers.
Released 1985, directed by Nicholas Meyer.
Canadian Bacon.
Released 1995, directed by Michael Moore.
Nothing But Trouble.
Released 1991, directed by Dan Aykroyd.
Delirious.
Released 1991, directed by Tom Mankiewicz.
Only the Lonely.
Released 1991, directed by Chris Columbus.
JFK.
Released 1991, directed by Oliver Stone. More JFK. 240 of 1189, every Oscar-winning film ever. 65 of 123, the best assassin movies.
Armed and Dangerous.
Released 1986, directed by Mark L. Lester.
Who's Harry Crumb?
Released 1989, directed by Paul Flaherty.
Home Alone.
Released 1990, directed by Chris Columbus. More Home Alone. Joe Pesci stories from behind the scenes of Home Alone. 15 hilarious Home Alone memes that made us nostalgic for the Christmas classic. 6 of 50, the 50 highest grossing 90s movies. Rank.
Splash.
Released 1984, directed by Ron Howard. More Splash. 56 of 314, the funniest 80s movies. 280 of 1540, the most rewatchable movies. 62 of 836, the greatest chick flicks ever made.
Brewster's Millions.
Released directed by Walter Hill.
Vacation.
Released 1983, directed by Harold Ramis. More Vacation, 128 of 355 The Best Rainy Day Movies, 44 of 372 Old Movies Every Young Person Needs to Watch in Their Lifetime.
The Blues Brothers.
Released 1980, directed by John Landis. More The Blues Brothers, 77 of 206 musical movies, with the best songs, 52 of 295 the best duos of all time.
Spaceballs.
Released 1987, directed by Mel Brooks.
Cool Runnings.
Released 1993, directed by John Turteltaub. More Cool Runnings, 187 of 277 the top tearjerker movies that make men cry, 9 of 275 the best movies based on true stories, 148 of 629 the best black movies ever made, ranked.
Summer Rental.
Released 1985, directed by Carl Reiner. More Summer Rental, 251 of 522 the greatest movies of the 1980s, ranked 26 of 104 the best movies about summer.
Stripes.
Stripes.
The Great Outdoors.
The Great Outdoors.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Released 1987, directed by John Hughes.
Uncle Buck.
Released 1989, directed by John Hughes.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.